1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it looking okay? All right. No. Yes, that's all good.
Hi, Neil, is that you?
Hi, Gary's.
Hi, Neil, how are you?
Oh, oh yeah. Hello.
Yeah, good. It's nice to meet you. I think I have actually met you before
Oh,
in
yes.
person,
Yes.
probably at the TES Show or something.
Oh, really? Okay. Not at Communication Works one year, perhaps, or
Oh, probably.
just
Yeah,
a sec. I
I
need to
probably
go
have
to the
met you there
doctor.
as well.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Yes. How was the Communication Works show the other week?
Yeah, it was really good. It was warm,
Yes.
but it
Yes.
was a really, it was a really nice day.
That's cool. Yes.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and it got quieter towards the afternoon. I think because it was so warm, and I think people wanted to
Yeah.
beat sort of traveling back through rush
Yeah.
hour. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it
didn't.
was a nice day.
Yeah. I didn't actually end up making it because of like the difficulty of the
Oh,
travel and the heat and stuff. Because yeah.
yes.
Yes. And also people telling you repeatedly not to travel.
Yes, there
or
was
or be
a do
out.
not
Yeah.
travel advice warning, wasn't there, for the day, which was a bit
Yes.
which was a bit worrisome.
I
So
know.
yeah,
Yeah. 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 Great. So how many are we expecting people to this or
we are actually. Do you know what? Annabelle usually tells me how many people have signed up, but she hasn't this
yes.
time because I think she
Okay.
gets those numbers. I'm not sure
Right.
if I do.
Yeah.
Um, but we usually have between about 10 and 15.
Oh, okay,
Um,
that's good. Yeah. Do I get
so
do we can do we see them? Can they ask questions or are they invisible
yes.
or yes.
So what tends
Yeah.
to happen is they'll appear on a panel at the side.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
as this is being recorded. I'll give everyone at the
Yeah.
beginning a little warning that they may
Yeah.
appear on the recording if
Yeah.
they keep their camera
Yeah.
on. So usually people keep their mics and their cameras off, but I'll go through and make sure that everyone's
Yeah.
microphone is off. I've just spotlighted you, so hopefully
Great.
you should
Yeah.
be the big face that everyone sees,
Yes.
the big one on the screen. Are you planning to share any clips or audio or video or anything?
I've just got PowerPoint, share PowerPoints. There's no audio, but it's just a PowerPoint. And
Okay.
so I just try doing that now.
Yeah, do you want to have a go now just to make sure it's all working well?
So I'll share the screen. So
Okay, brilliant. I can see that.
you can see that, and
Yes.
also I've got mine as well. So yeah, no, I can't see any of you, but like I'll just because I've got the actual. I might not bother with that. It's just it's finding room to put everything on the screen, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Just a second with that.
And I'm pronouncing this right if I say Commtap, right?
You are very
Okay,
good.
good.
Yes, most people
Cool.
can't spell it, but never mind.
Yeah, saying it's not too hard. Yeah.
Yes. Um, so yeah, let's see. Does that work? Does that change a slide? Have you got a different slide now?
Let's have a look. Sorry. Yes, I do. Introduction. Why we need communication access ramps.
And can you see my mouse on the screen there?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
It's a
that's
little
good.
bit kind of delayed as it's moving around, but I can see
Okay,
it.
but
Yeah.
it's there. Okay, right.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's good. And then I'll need to stop that presentation, stop that at some point, and then I'll need to go and share. Put this up here actually. It's somewhere anyway. Stop sharing and then share again. So I'll need to share the actual same thing, but not as a presentation. And now you're all gone. Okay, there you go. Yes.
Okay. So I can see it
Yes.
now, but I can see it as like slides
Yeah,
rather
that's what I
than.
want to, because there's one
Okay.
bit where I'm going to demonstrate, because like the software's within the PowerPoint, so I'm actually demonstrate that at
Ah,
some point.
okay.
So I'll
Okay,
need to
perfect.
stop the presentation to do that, but that's all good.
Brilliant.
Yes,
Yeah, that all looks good in that case.
fabulous. But I'll just start with the uh so do you see this? Do you actually see the slide now?
Yes, I see the
Oh,
symbol go.
so
Yeah.
it's like it was one full slide now, and then I can
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, it's
okay.
taking up the whole screen. Yeah.
So if I stop that, and then it's back to like the actual PowerPoint.
Now,
Oh,
now I can see it within PowerPoint. Yeah.
that's perfect. Yeah. I
Cool.
just have it. Yes,
Excellent.
that's good. Yeah. Hmm.
Um, you were asking about questions. What we tend to say to viewers or people who are watching is to put them in the chat, and then we stop at about 5 to, and we have a little Q&A. So do those timings work for you?
Oh yeah. So I'll talk to about 5 to, yeah, shall I? And then I have 5 minutes
Yeah.
for the Q&A. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah, that should
I'll
be
put my
fine.
mic and my camera
Yeah.
back on, and
Yeah.
I'll just sort of say, oh, we'll we'll have some questions now or something.
Yeah.
And then I think Annabelle likes us to start dead on 1:30. So yeah,
Absolutely. Don't
we'll
encourage people latecomers, do we?
no, exactly, quite right, yeah. So yeah, we'll wait a moment or so to see if a couple of
Yeah.
people extra join, but apart from that, we'll kind of start as close to
Yeah.
1:30 as we can.
Yeah. Fabulous. Brilliant. Okay. It's all
Okay.
good. Yeah.
And so are you showing us Commtap today, or because I got the impression from Annabelle's email that you'd also done some work with the school or some
Yeah,
research, is
so
that
what I'm going
right?
to do is yeah, exactly. So what I'm going to do is going to go through we come up with this kind of terminology, communication access ramp. I don't know if
Mhm.
it's used anywhere else, but it seems to be quite nice. So I'm going to go
Yeah.
through the concepts behind that, what that means. Like, I mean, it's focused around access to communication in mainstream. So I don't know how many people
Mhm.
will actually be in mainstream or not, but anyway, it's just so so
I mean, a lot of our
I'll
schools are mainstream, so
Right,
yeah,
brilliant. So I'll
yeah.
go through all that. I'll go through like why it is what it is, how we might kind of like see whether classes have got an adequate communication access ramp or not, what we can look out for. And then I'm going to finish off with like talking about like a project we did in schools earlier this year. So
Cool.
we was a couple of East London primary schools where we had actually had a lot of students, speech language therapy students, and we worked with sort of about 6 classes in each school
Oh, wow.
with the teachers, and yeah. And I'll talk a little bit about that. One of the students put together some kind of nice little slides about what they thought were kind of the benefits in one of the schools. So yeah.
Okay, excellent. So if
Yeah,
I open it up and say you're going to share the work that
yeah,
you've carried out in 2 East London primary
yeah,
schools to create communication access ramps in lessons using symbols,
yes,
is that a kind of a good mini description and springboard for you to jump
yeah,
from?
yeah. So
Okay, good.
I'm gonna move it, go into that. So I mean, the key things are going to talk about communication access ramps, and it's going to include that as we, yeah. But
Okay,
that's great. That's fine. Yeah, it's all fine.
brilliant. Excellent. Good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's all the kind of
Yeah.
housekeeping, so to
Great.
speak.
great. So we've just got 6 minutes, haven't we, to, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So have you got more, have you got many more of these, or are you kind of sort of winding up for the end of term?
Yeah, I think this is the last one of this academic year, and
Yeah,
then I think we go again in September. Yeah, I don't think there's one next week.
yeah.
Um,
Is it
yeah,
usually weekly, is it?
yeah,
Yeah,
weekly in term time. So like
yeah,
during half
yeah,
terms and Easter's we
yeah,
wouldn't. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
um, I think there's been a few less over the last month or so because schools are so busy with exams and end of year, and I think schools are less able to join in and watch. So I think there have been a
Yeah.
few less
Mm,
recently, but yeah, most weeks throughout the year.
yeah, yeah. I suppose people
Yeah.
people more focused on end of term and holidays than like, yeah.
Yes, they're on the home straight. They're just trying to get it done, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And are you at Charlton Park Academy, or are you based, do you work with Charlton Park Academy, or do you work
Yes.
externally more?
So our offices are based there, and we do a lot of work with the pupils there.
Yeah,
I go out and work into lots of different schools, and
yeah,
most of us do that. So I don't work directly with pupils at Charlton Park very often, but
right,
some of my colleagues do, and they'll go down
right,
and support with assistive technology and deliver therapy
right.
and stuff. But yeah, mostly it's schools in other boroughs or
Yeah,
in the same borough actually, but
okay.
across London.
Yeah,
But
brilliant.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. And
yeah,
you say most of that, a lot of that work is within like mainstream schools, is it? You say?
yeah. I would say the majority of my schools are mainstream. I've got a few SEN schools, secondary schools particularly.
Okay, yeah.
Um, but yeah, the majority of them are SEN children, but within mainstream provisions.
And they're often like, oh, the AAC users usually, or all of them. Or,
Yes.
yeah.
So I'm a teacher, so I do the curriculum aspect of the
Oh,
CENMAC
okay, yeah.
awards. But
Right.
yeah, I think across London now, our caseload is becoming about 50% AAC. And I have a lot of pupils who do use AAC and are supported by our SALTs, and I also support them for the curriculum support. So that's probably
Yes.
about a third of my caseload, I'd
Right,
say,
right,
is
right,
yeah. So it's
right.
definitely growing AAC
So you, so
users.
you're, are you doing quite a lot of work then with the teachers, how they might include these children in their classes? Is that kind of like the focus, or is it
It's
about like
more about the implementation of AT,
implementing?
but yeah, also
Yeah.
within the classroom. And I think that's something we're looking at now is more kind of whole class support because
Yes.
there are so many children who need support.
Exactly. Yeah.
And teachers
Yeah.
are looking for kind of whole class solutions, I think,
Yes. Yes.
to
Yeah.
because that's so much easier to integrate
It
than
makes sense.
unless a
Yeah.
child needs it highly specialized because that is in a classroom of 30, that's really
It's
tricky.
not really possible, is it? Like,
Yeah,
and it's not necessarily just one child that needs highly specialized support. It's like could be two or three who need
it's
different
at
sorts of highly
least,
specialized
yes,
support, and
yes,
that's gonna be really hard, isn't it? So yeah,
indeed, yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a
yeah,
nice mix of different schools and settings and
yeah,
needs. Um, yeah,
yes. When I first started working Tower Hamlets, that was my focus was well, we had a complex needs outreach team, so it was like speech and
mm,
language therapists who had a caseload of children with kind of more complex needs, but across like mainstream schools. So I go and visit different schools and support the children there, and like kind of work with the staff there, and I really like that. But
yeah,
then we kind of changed that idea and decided to have it as a because we also have speech and language therapists, which are kind of like more generalists who sort of attach to different schools. So then we kind of merged those caseloads together.
yeah,
So as the outreach person, you didn't really that kind of that was kind of lost a bit. But yeah.
yeah.
Then
It's
I
always
then
finding that balance, isn't it, between the kind of that highly
Yeah,
specialized.
I think so. It's right. I think it's really important to share those skills around. But then there's
Mhm.
also the issues, like particularly when you've got like sort of more sophisticated AAC. If you're kind of more a generous therapist, it's not that you can't do it. It's just that like you might not come across it very often. So you might not see
Yeah,
a child for 5 or 6 years who has that kind of need, and then all of a sudden you get one and you haven't really got that kind of experiences, and you start like
yeah.
reinventing the wheel a bit if you're not careful.
Yes, you need to practice that skill set. And as you say, if you're not doing it
Yeah.
weekly or monthly, yeah, it's hard to
Exactly. You
pick it up
don't.
and get straight
Yeah.
back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Just get some people arriving.
Yes. Excellent. We'll give it about another minute.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay, so let's make a start then. So hello, and thank you for joining us for this week's Thursday 30. I'm Caris, one of CENMAC's advisory teachers, and we've got Neil Thompson from Commtap CIC with us today. He's going to share the work Commtap carried out in 2 East London primary schools to create communication access ramps in lessons using symbols. So if you have any questions for Neil as we go, please type them into the chat and we will take time to answer them at the end of the session. To make you aware, this session is being recorded for anyone who can't join us live today, and the recording will soon be available on our website for anyone who has missed it or would like to rewatch it. So you may want to turn your camera off if you don't want to appear in the recording. But yeah, thank you, and over to Neil.
Okay, hi, hello everybody. Yes, so what I'm going to talk about today is communication access ramps. I'm going to talk about the concept. Is a term we've recently kind of coined, but maybe other people might be thinking about using it. I'm going to talk about background to what they are, what we're thinking they are, what to look out for in classes where you might think that some communication support might be generally needed, how you do it, and they're going to kind of finish off. I'm going to talk about a couple of schools where we did some work earlier on the year with quite a few classes there. So communication access ramps. So first question is, why do we need communication access ramps? I think the thing that strikes me is that over the recent years we've kind of moved a long way in terms of making public spaces, including schools, much more physically accessible. So you're getting physical access ramps all over the place. It's you don't get the situation which you used to get sort of 2 or 3 decades ago, where if you're a wheelchair user, you might end up having to go to a special school because there was no other place where you could be accommodated just because of your physical need. But that obviously doesn't happen now. So then the question is, so what are we doing about communication access ramps? So we know, and this is you probably heard the statistics. It's like from research carried out by Speech and Language UK through questionnaires with teachers, indicating that 1 in 5 children have significant in mainstream classes have significant communication difficulties. So it's 1 in 5 children. So on average, around 6 children in every class who are having some significant difficulties following what's going on in the class. So the question is, how they're being supported. How they're being supported to have access to those classes. So I think before, what would be useful to look at is to think about what the signs are that class could do with having a communication. Are people? Is everyone? Can everyone hear me? And okay, good. Yes. So yeah. So I thought what would be good to think about first is what the signs are that a class could do with having a communication access ramp or to improve its existing one. Then we'll talk about what I actually mean by that. So I've got this, we've kind of come up with this little, this kind of table, which you could use for individual children, but you can also use to think about a class as a whole to get an idea of what communication access is looking like for those children within the class. So what we're doing here is trying to look out for signs that children might be struggling with communication. So it's not all of, so the key thing is, I suppose one of the things like this, there can be some obvious signs, like you might have some children with challenging behavior who might, that's might be an instant alert to something's going on there. But then there's quite a lot of other children who aren't really showing anything so overt or not causing, an issue for teaching. And one of the issues with that is that those children can actually be kind of ignored in a sense. So we've got these kind of 6 different things we could think about. So think about non-verbal signs. So think about how engaged or otherwise is the child. Are they showing signs of anxiety, signs of frustration? So that's where you might see some challenging behavior or not, possibly avoiding eye contact. not always a sign, or they might be show no signs of frustration or engaged or attentive. So the idea is like, if you see something in a red box, that's like something that alerts you to maybe there's something that could be related to communication there. If it's green box, then we're kind of thinking that's okay. There's nothing there to worry about, and the yellowy ones are ones kind of in the middle. I mean, obviously not communication might not necessarily, there could be other factors, but communication will be one factor you would want to look out for. Think about comprehension checking. So you might have kids who rarely or never ask for repetition, and there might be evidence they're not understanding, or they might have kids who are doing a lot of asking for repetition. So and both of those can signify something, some difficulties with comprehension. Up to the other end where, rarely asking for a repetition and there's evidence they understand. Then we could think about interactions and comprehension. So is the child nearly always has difficulties answering questions, or there's frequent misunderstandings, to be able to negotiate with peers, always able to answer questions, less of a concern. Think about recall of learning, whether children are able to recall information they've learned from lessons or aren't able to do that. Thinking about interactions and speaking. Are they using incomplete responses? Are they quiet? Or are they interacting? Are they confident in their interactions? And then finally about tasks. So thinking about like, how well are children kind of engaging in tasks? Are they hesitating to start the task, possibly because they don't know what they're supposed to be doing? Or they're using strategies like copying what peers say or do without fully understanding. That's probably just something from my own experience. As I was one school once, and I was asked to see a child in year 6, and they found out in year 6, they just found out that he had like severe problems with like reading and writing, and he's just about to go to secondary school. And their excuse was he was so good at using strategies to hide his difficulties. He was so good at copying, they somehow hadn't managed to notice it for 6 years. Okay, so copying, or on the other side of the spectrum, maybe helping peers carry out tasks fully independently. So those are some things to look out for. I think Karis will be sharing the slides afterwards, so you got these to take away with you if you want to kind of digest them a bit more. So that's explanation of that. We also put some, so the idea with this one is, with our project that we did in the schools earlier on this year, one of the things we wanted our students to do was to actually use this to try and assess the classes in terms of like their communication environment. Fortunately, they got tied up in doing a lot too much kind of assessments of individual children, so that's something they hadn't done, but we'll kind of come on to that in a little bit later. The other thing I want to look at is like is effects on teachers. So just sort of kind of bearing in mind that these things don't just affect children. How's that affecting teachers? So these are sort of things that difficulties of communication how they might manifest themselves. So thinking about demands on teacher attention. So are they having lots more demands? They're having to, they're requiring to help more children out, or lesson flow, interruptions in lesson flow, academic achievements, so signs of struggles of students within the class, them having to spend extra time adapting lessons to different learning needs, which is often obviously very difficult. How class behavior management is, and how well they're able to maintain engagement. So there are other things that can impact on teachers' quality of life as well. So we're not just thinking about the children's quality of life. So yeah. So what is a communication access ramp? So these are some good communication practices which you probably may well be familiar with. So you might, and these are sort of things that speech and language therapists might kind of recommend. So they might have a student in a class, and they might do some intervention with that child, and then say, oh yeah, hand some information over to the teacher, hoping that teacher will be able to carry it out. So things they might say might be along the lines of using shorter sentences, one instruction at a time, speak slower, support speech with visuals, allowing processing time, waiting for people to complete their sentences, checking understanding. So these can be more or less easy for teachers to actually implement. So I'll just carry on with that. So some things I thought about. So slower pace may be obviously frustrating for some kids in the class. So if you're adapting your communication with one set of kids, how's that going to work for the others? Another set of kids. If you're trying to deliver your lesson at 2 different levels at the same time, that can be a challenge. If you're trying to use simpler language and then, explain something in a simpler way, and then adding more complex language can be quite challenging. So that's a challenge of delivering one lesson at more than one level at the same time. And the detail about visuals for and how are they actually going to help understanding. So I think this is probably one of the key. I'm a speech language therapist, so it's like probably one of the key things that we kind of don't do very well is just make some statement about using visuals for your lessons. Well, of course, teaching staff always use visuals for lessons. I mean, I don't think I've been in lots of lessons. I don't think I've really seen a teacher not using visuals, but so there's much more to using visuals and just using them. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? Okay, so let's think about what we're kind of recommending. So you'll actually see as we've been going through this presentation, I've used some symbols here with the presentation. So we're going to talk about making access ramps using symbols. So what I've done here is I've drawn out key bits of information with symbols. So not symbolize, not so the idea is I'm using symbols to bring out some bits of key information, symbols that represent specific concepts, but just being very selective. So looking at the very key bits of information we want to highlight from our text that the teacher can use during their lessons. So I'm just going to show you that. This is a slide from a real lesson. I'm just going to stop my. Yeah, you should still see that. Yeah. Okay. Right. So this is a piece of text that teacher is going to use with their class. So it says, imagine that you woke up one morning and everything in your house was strange. Your bed was floating, your pet could talk, and the sky was made of strange clocks. Well, actually, I was going to ask you which words might you. So the classic widget way is to like select all the words and then symbolize them. This is PowerPoint, but you might copy that into widget communicate and print and then symbolize everything or symbolize as you go, which I kind of really advise against. I don't know if anyone's tried that. Oh, sorry, my screen's gone a bit weird. Just might have to bring it down here. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah. So my screen sometimes does a thing where it splits everything in half, which is not very useful. Okay, yes. So it's still in one piece. Okay, yeah. So what we recommend is you just choose some keywords. Anybody got suggestions about if you were to choose 3 keywords? It's kind of like, I think the game's partly been given away. If you were to symbolize 3 keywords, put images for 3 of those keywords in that sentence, what would they be? So I think what I would do is I might add a symbol for imagine. I might do a symbol for wake up and strange. And what you can see, so I'm using our symbolizing software, which is added to PowerPoint. So I don't know if you can see at the top, you get some extra icons, which enables you to add symbols to your presentation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this image, this icon here, which is a symbol picker, and hopefully you can see a box which says symbol picker. Can you see that? Can people see that? nod if you can see it. Thumbs up. Okay, great. Okay, so if I click on, okay, yes, imagine. Okay, so you got imagine, so I can click on choose that icon, imagine, and that appears at the top of the sentence, and I'm going to go for wake up. Then we got that icon, and then let's go for strange. So that's I would say that's a key thing. Let's do that one. Yeah. So that's what you do when you're preparing your lesson. And then as you're teaching, you teach in the normal way. And you can pretty much use your normal language. But as you do your teaching, you draw attention to the symbols as you go along. You might even expand them. So I've seen some teachers just expand them as well as they go along. So you might say, okay, imagine that you woke up one morning and everything in your house was strange. And you might say, oh, strange. There's an icon. You might talk about that being strange. And then of course with this particular one, you've also got some more illustration of that. So your bed was floating, your pet could talk, and the sky was made of strange clocks. So that's in principle what you do, what you would do. And what we find is when you kind of present your lessons like that, it makes a really big difference for those children who are struggling with the understanding of the language. It helps them to focus on the key bits of information. So you're not trying to give them like everything. Because if you try and give them everything in symbolized or not symbolized, that will quite often still be too much information for some of these kids. So you find out what's the most important things, keywords, and you're trying to limit it to maybe 3 or 4, not to everything, because you can see you can symbolize more stuff, but the idea is to just limit that, so then they've got something to latch onto, and it kind of helps the children to sort of keep with the thread of the lesson. It also helps for those kids who aren't struggling but maybe kind of daydreamed for a bit and didn't kind of weren't thinking, to sort of get back into the lesson. What we also find is, like, if you have these when it comes to say the plenary and questions, it makes those kids who kind of weren't that confident whether they'd understood something or not, it makes them much more confident to take part in the lesson, to maybe ask a question or to answer a question. So that's very briefly what that does. Going to go back into the slideshow. So yeah. Okay. So we're just very quickly some of the benefits. So it helps them to engage better, helps them better understand the language, helps to improve recall learning, which can be you can see that across, like, the whole, other children, not just ones who have difficulties with understanding, greater confidence, more independence. When we talk about benefits for teachers, and I think one of the key benefits, and what teachers do tell us, is that's actually not really much extra work to add symbols to the lesson, particularly if they're using our software. We've kind of showed people how to use widgets. A little bit more complicated with widget, but you can do it. You can sort of kind of cut and paste symbols from widget into PowerPoint. There's a kind of way of doing that using these keyboard shortcuts, which makes it not too painful. And there, yeah. Okay, so I want to just talk quickly about the recent work in schools. So, so the whole project was, we ended up having 10 speech and language therapy students from City University, and we selected 2 schools in East London, 2 primary schools, and we ended up having 6 in one school and 4 in the other. 6 students, and each student was assigned to their own class. And so the idea for the students, they kind of got a kind of much better idea of what the challenges are for teachers teaching in classes. So kind of traditionally, like quite often with speech and language therapists, they may not actually have much time to actually spend in classes. So when you then they may be working individually with children, but not really kind of fully see the full picture of what's going on in the classroom, what's reasonable to expect of the teacher, what the kind of pressures are on the child. So they were spending a lot of time in the classroom, so they could really understand, what the challenges are for the teacher, but also, and definitely what the challenges are for the children, particularly those children with the kind of communication difficulties. What were issues and what were challenges for them, and what weren't challenges for them, and how you could support them. And so they were in classes, and they had a speech language therapist who's supervising them, called practice educators, and so they'd be supervising the children, but also part of that supervising the students, but also they will be coaching the teachers in how to add symbols to their lessons, and then how to use those symbols as part of their lessons. So the students themselves would also learn how to support in doing that. So that's what we did. And then these are the results from one of the schools. So this is a primary school, and the students in that school were working with year 3 and year 4 classes. And that particular, so we started, the idea was we started, teachers had training earlier on in the term. So that'll be an hour after school session where we go through the principles of adding symbols, how you do it, how you might kind of adapt your lessons to have symbols, what you do with them. So obviously with time pressures and so on, not all the teachers managed to receive the training. So the fact that we had some teachers engaging and some teachers not engaging, which was quite useful for us, and we could actually get a bit more of an idea of where you were seeing the benefits, and whether it was working or not. So you see, so 4 out of 6 teachers received the training, and then they also, what they did was they did a talking mat towards the beginning of the term and towards the end of the term with the children. So they had about 15 or 20 different kind of things on the talking mats that the children can rate, between easy, medium, and difficult. And the idea was to try and sort of get an idea as to the children's experiences and what effect you might see from the difference in effects you might see where teachers participated in training and coaching and where the teachers hadn't. And I was actually surprised the students would actually find some differences, which for quite a short period of time was quite surprising that we did actually see it. We did actually see a difference. So they selected some key things from those talking mats, and these were they carried out these talking mats, these discussions with children across the range of the ability range in the classroom. So it wasn't just children with communication needs. It was a couple who were struggling, a couple in the middle, and 1 or 2, maybe one who's kind of more of a high achiever. So we wanted to try and get an idea of effect on all the children, not just those with communication struggles. And they noticed, so we got these key areas I looked at was making friends, following instructions which was supported with pictures, knowing what I'm doing, focusing on the class, remembering things, instructions on the board. So they did find some slight improvements in all those categories across that range of children. But then they compared that. These were classes where the teachers had taken part in the coaching and the training, and these were classes which didn't participate, and they seemed to find a different effect. So yeah, either found things changed or seemed to sort of get worse. I'm not quite sure why it got worse, but anyway, it seemed to get worse. So don't know, they were just getting more tired as it got towards the end of the term or not. I'm not sure. Quite an interesting finding. I mean, I don't think it's a fully rigorous piece of academic research, but I think it was kind of interesting to see those differences. So we at the moment we're writing up all this project. We're kind of thinking about how we're going to change things, and the idea is we're planning to run it again in a couple of schools, kind of from January in the next academic year, if possible. So okay, so yeah, so just to find out more, if you want information about the software, information about making lessons communication accessible, getting training and support for a school in your area, for your school or for your area, because we're also thinking about how we could like provide an offer to a local authority in terms of software, and also in terms of the support for teachers in terms of using these principles. And then, as I said, like registering your school's interest for possible repeat of what we call the communication inclusion project. Okay, so you got the our website symbol.go.com, and that's my email address. So that's it, and I think we've got 5 minutes now for questions.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. That was great. It is almost 4 p.m. So does anyone have any questions for Neil? Just put them in the chat if you'd like to, or feel free to unmute yourself to ask. No? No questions at this moment? Well, yeah, thank you, Neil. That was really interesting. I think loads of great support as well, as you say, for children who need extra support with their communication, but also for EAL, or children who learn English as an additional language.
Absolutely. Yeah. And where's it possible to download the symbols? So, okay, so those particular symbols are from the Noun project. I don't know if anyone's come across the Noun project. There's you can, it's the nounproject.com. They have around about possibly 10 million icons now, which is a huge quantity. And so the only issue with that is when you go to that website, you'll find like you might search for something like go, and you'll get 10,000 possibilities. So what we've done with our project, with the Commtap symbol go for PowerPoint, is we've curated a set of those. So at the moment we've got curated about a set of 4,000. So if you say type go, you will only get, you know, half a dozen possibilities, not 10,000. Also, I didn't show you on this, but you can. There's also the PCS symbols also available with the symbolizer, with the symbol go for PowerPoint software, and their icons are kind of similar sort of icons to widget symbols. Yeah, so those are two key ones we've got. I know some people kind of like feel, well, our school uses widget. Widget didn't want to license their symbols to us. They are kind of interested in licensing their symbols to us now, but at the moment they're not licensed to us. But I think what I'd always say is like it's preferable to having some symbols, even if it's not like what you think should be the gold standard or the one that they use in the special needs department. It's better to have some symbols than no symbols at all. So I definitely, that was what my recommendation would be. Also, you can, through the software, you can, like, if you've got a set of icons or pictures or whatever, as long as you in a folder, you can browse that folder and add it as like your own customized symbol set. So you can have, you know, whatever you want, or if you've managed to download your own set of icons, you can have that. And then when you type into PowerPoint, you can then again select words within your phrases and have your like own customized symbols appear. Yeah. Okay. Many schools I'm working with are Google only. I know. So that's yes, I know that comes up. And if we had more money, it costs a lot of time and money to actually develop software. We would develop it for like other bits of software. So what I'd say though, what people are doing is like, yeah, PowerPoint is obviously compatible with Google, and you can upload PowerPoint to Google, and we've kind of set it up that so if you've made something in PowerPoint and then you open it in Google Slides, whatever it's called, and then you kind of then want to edit in PowerPoint again, it's kind of the way the software works. You can do that. It doesn't like forget how the symbols are formatted. I know other schools say they use things like they use their own kind of presentation software. They might use Active and Sparrow or whatever. But then what teachers can do is like they make their slides in PowerPoint. Most schools will have access to PowerPoint, and then put it into whatever kind of document sharing service they're using. So you can sort of move things around. So that's what I'd say. Yeah. So it does only work with PowerPoint. Yeah. And yeah. I mean, we'd love to change it, but it's about 10,000 hours of coding to make it for PowerPoint. It'll probably be another 10,000 hours to make it for Google. So yeah. Yeah. So great. Any great questions? Any other questions? Or I think you're just about finished now, aren't we, Caris? So
yeah, only other than to ask you. So if schools or I should say local authorities are interested in joining your project, they can email you directly at Neil Thompson at
absolutely, yeah.
Commtap.
And we'd love to sort of like, get people, especially for the like project we're doing, students, it'd be great to have like expressions of interest. If you just like want to send us an email, or schools to send us an email, that'd be fabulous, because we want to have a, it's great. Because although it starts in January, what we'd like to do, hopefully if we get the money from City University to do it, we need to kind of like have schools on board sometime before the students arrive, because we want to kind of make sure we've met all the teachers. We kind of like to provide a little bit of initial training so that schools feel prepared when the students arrived, and because otherwise with kind of hectic lifestyles of schools, that we don't want to spend like a month getting things sorted out when the students have got there. So that'll be my recommendation to you guys, and first come. Yeah. So yeah.
Excellent.
Great.
We've actually had another question popped into the chat, which is, will the symbols also work in Microsoft Word?
So what I've so what I've done with that, actually, because because Word works in a different way. What I do actually find is works really well, which I've just done with I can't try and stop this presentation. I think you can still see that. Is trying to get a new slide. When you try and do things quickly, your computer definitely doesn't want to do things quickly, does it? Let's do a blank slide there. Okay, so if I say, I can use a simple picker and go, I like, what do I want to say? Tomato, and then tomato. Yeah. So then you can just copy and paste that. So just literally press Control-C or copy and stick it straight into Word. So yeah, I was just actually preparing a report where I was putting like symbols into the report in Word, and it was actually really quick to do that. So that's a really effective way of doing that. So yeah. Great. Okay, anything else?
Okay, so yeah, if that is all the questions for now, then we will finish there. If you do have any additional questions, feel free to pass them on to our event organizer, Annabelle Dent, or I'm sure, Neil, would you mind if people went straight to you with questions?
Absolutely, yes. That's going to go to those email addresses. Shall I send you the slides, and would you be able to distribute the slides? Would that work?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, if you do
great.
that and
Yes.
CC Annabelle in, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, great. Thank you.
Brilliant.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Neil, for your time and
Okay.
for introducing us to Commtap.
Great.
And if you enjoyed our meeting today, thank you for watching this week's Thursday 30. Have a good afternoon and bye for now.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.